A couple of weeks ago, we got the news that Aaron Taylor Johnson has been cast as Kraven the Hunter in the Craven solo movie for the SPUMC, or Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters. And this has been a really interesting movie to talk about because just like the Venom movie, and really Morbius as well, this is a movie about a Spider-Man villain without Spider-Man. So it's been confusing about like how they're going to do this story, how they're going to portray the character, and also who's going to be the villain. Who is Kraven the Hunter going to battle if it's not Spider-Man? Well, now we have some news on who the villain will be, because according to the Illuminerdi, which is a super reliable source, the Chameleon will be the villain of this film, or at least one of the villains, because they don't know for certain if he's set to be the only villain, but he will be having a significant presence in the film. Which I think is just awesome. I can't believe I didn't think about this earlier, but yeah, Chameleon would work as the perfect villain for this movie, because if you don't know already, Chameleon in the comics and Kraven the Hunter are actually stepbrothers or half-brothers or something like that. So they already have a connection to each other. So it could be this cool brotherly rivalry, which I think would be a really cool dynamic for these characters. And also, Chameleon is just such a cool character. For those of you who don't know who he is, Dmitry Smirkov, again, is another Spider-Man villain who has the power of disguise. So he can disguise himself as anybody he wants to. It's different depending on the comic or the series or movie it's in, whether it's actually he's just a master of like costumes and makeup and stuff like that, or in other versions he has actual superpowers or tech that can actually shapeshift him. It's pretty cool, and I'm interested to see which version they adapt for this film. But I think he's such a cool character, and I remember back for Spider-Man Far From Home, there was this character called Dmitry, who as soon as people heard that name, Dmitry, a lot of people assumed, wait a second, is this Dmitry Smirkov the Chameleon, and is he going to be a villain in this movie? And he didn't end up being a villain, but I thought that maybe that could still be a setup for that character to go on to be the Chameleon in the MCU, but clearly that is not the case, and we are going to be getting a different Dmitry in this Kraven the Hunter film, because this Illuminerdi article is actually talking about a casting call for the character, because they're reportedly looking for an actor in their 30s to play this Spider-Man villain with Chameleon, which, again, I just think is awesome. And I can't believe I didn't think about this before, but yes, Chameleon is such the perfect villain to see in this film, not only because I really want to see the character in live action, but if this movie, along with Venom and Morbius and all these other SPUMC movies, actually do connect to the MCU as we all want, then this adds even more villains to Spider-Man's rogues gallery, that we could see Spider-Man crossover with not only the Kraven the Hunter in the future, but now also the Chameleon, which I think would just be so cool. And again, it depends on which version they do of Chameleon. I'm thinking their costume and makeup one would be kind of too simple, so I'm thinking they'll probably go for a more advanced version that either has superpowers to shapeshift or has some sort of tech to change the way he looks, like he did in the most recent Spider-Man cartoon, Marvel Spider-Man. That's how the character was portrayed. So I'm thinking that's how it will be done in this series, in this movie, and I think that's awesome. Again, makes so much sense with these two characters being related and being half brothers and having that family lineage. It just makes so much sense, and I think this is gonna be so cool, and I'm so excited for it. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Are you excited to see the Chameleon finally make his live-action debut as the villain in the Kraven the Hunter solo film? So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything goes on in the Marvel life.